Happy New Year, humans! This is Retro Rocket Man, back again with another video. I got this Warhammer 40k Space Marine Reiver. It's an artist proof, which means I can paint it, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Made by Mcfarlane toys. He's got a lot of great detail. I'm going to paint him in my own colours, purely going to be concept. Yes, he's got a lot of good detail, and he's going to be an interesting challenge. So let's get to it, shall we? Just having a closer look at what he comes with, his accessories. He's got this knife sword, and it fits comfortably in his sheath on the back. He also has a grappling hook gun. Quite impressed. He's quite heavy and solid. But it's really going to give me a lot of interesting things to do. So I'm going to start by using some Tamiya flesh tone for the head, and some olive green for the main part of the armour, some brown for the straps and pouches, black for the undersuit, and silver for just to create some interest for other areas, and the piece de resistance, copper. This should really pop against the green. Now, I'm not big on taking figures apart. I'm a bit worried that they're going to break on me, so I've only taken off a couple of the parts, the head and the shoulder pads. But the rest I'm going to attempt to paint whilst he's still together. I know it's a bit harder to do, and I've seen other guys pull these things to bits, but I'm not as confident in doing that. But this thing about breaking stuff. So I'm going to start by painting the undersuit in the black. It's easier to paint the areas that are harder to get to, more recessed. Do them first, because any touch-offs you can just paint over when you do your other colours. So I'm just cutting in the neck area. I'm not being particularly fussy about it, because as I said before, any touch-offs you can just paint over. And you usually have to go back and retouch the back black for areas that you might have touched off with the other colours. Now for his backpack, I'm doing a silver, copper and dark olive combination. Kind of making it up as I go, and I can always paint over what I want to change. Naturally, all this stuff is going to get the weathering down the track to grunge it up and dirty it down. Now I'm painting his sword, or knife, or swipe, I don't know what you want to call it. Just giving the blade a nice silver treatment. And the grappling gun, decided the grapple hook will be metallic silver. As well as other features of the gun. I don't know what this knobby thing on the back is, but it's getting the silver treatment as well. So on the head, there's these side pieces, part of his half helmet. They're getting the silver treatment too. Trying carefully not to get too much silver on the areas that I'll be giving a skin tone, but it doesn't matter. It can all be touched up down the track anyway. Now for the olive, the dark olive, on the main part of his armour, this in my opinion will give it a more of a military look, typical sort of army colours. Naturally doing it this way is a bit harder, but it's all part of the challenge. This olive colour dries to a rather flat finish, which is just perfect for military type applications. Decided that the gun should mirror his uniform or his armour, so it's getting the same colour treatment as well. Everything will tie in. It'll look like it belongs. So I did an undercoat of white where I'm putting the flesh tone, and this will just calm down that grey area. And this required a couple of coats just to get that nice consistency that I was after. Now I'm doing some silver accents on his armour. This is all purely to my own taste, and as you can see I've also put some copper on certain parts which really pop against the green, just to give it a fair bit more interest than it otherwise might have. Now a bit of brown on his belt and straps and pouches. It's just a flat brown that's going to be weathered as well. A little bit of dry brushing and it should make it pop. But this also helps break up the costume or the armour. Just make it more pleasing to look at. Did his eyebrows, but they were a bit too dark, so I'm just toning them down a little bit. Just giving them a bit of a lighter over colour. And I'll do the same thing to his mohawk. Of course, the skull or the mouthpiece is painted white, and that will get a brown wash down the track. I'm just giving it a light wash on the hair as well. Just use the same brown I used on the leather straps and pouches for his hair, and then I'm just giving it a bit of a light over touch of a lighter colour. Now for the shoe polish treatment on all the metallic parts of the armour. This is the usual application where I brush it on, and then whilst it's still wet, before it sets, I carefully rag it off. Just in a dabbing motion, because I want to leave a texture behind that really tarnishes down that silver, makes it look weather worn and battle worn, tarnished. Also brings out the sculpt. This looks heaps better, don't you think? Same treatment on the grappling hook gun, grapple gun, whatever you want to call it. On the box it says it's a grapnel launcher. So there you go. That's the official word. So you've also painted copper on the other part of the grapnel launcher. Now for weathering the backpack, the jetpack, whatever it is. I'm not big on the Warhammer lore, so to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you exactly what all this stuff is. But I'm just weathering it down, just making those sculpts and all those nuts and bolts and grills, all of them pop. Give them a bit of grime. Just making sure I get into all those nooks and crannies. I don't want to leave too much of the excess behind. At the same time, I don't want to take too much off, so it's all done to taste. Your own preferences. Naturally, anything that's shiny can't stay that way for long. It's got to be grunged down. Just makes it so much more interesting to look at. Of course, that's my opinion. With the knee pads, I'm just sort of dabbing around the outside with a little bit of shoe polish and kind of roughly blending it. So I'm concentrating more colour to the outside and minimising it to the centre. This gives it a much higher level of dimension and also interest. I'm just dirtying down his grenades. I'm applying a brown shoe polish to the green areas, and this will weather the green, not quite so dramatically as the black might otherwise do. And it certainly gives it a different colour and texture. Makes it look dirtier, but it also kind of gives it a more earthy look. So I'm going to apply this method to all the green areas of the armour so that they all match. My initial approach is to just sort of stick to the outside edges and then blend it to the centre. Naturally over the white logo on his chest, that's going to get dirtied down totally. To make the skull and cross knives, because they're not bones, are they? Make them pop and make them look like they truly belong on his armour. No point having them nice and clean when everything else is so dirty. And straight away you can see how that just leaps out at you. So in a dabbing motion I'm removing the excess. This creates a texture as well as removing the excess, so it's a double effect. You can see the immediate colour change from the unwashed to the washed parts. Looks so much better. Now I'm just going over the entire area with a very light silver dry brushing, just to give it a more metallic finish and a bit of very light scratching. And I'm just applying this liberally, but with very little paint all over. It'll catch in certain light and it'll really pop. Just give it that extra dimension. So there you have it, humans. This is my attempt at a Warhammer 40k Space Marine Reiver made by Mcfarlane, and I'm quite happy with the way this has turned out. He looks a crap load better than he did in the box. I'm probably going to have a go at another one in the future, so stay tuned for that. This is Retro Rocket Man. Hope you enjoyed it, humans. Happy New Year, and over and out.